What's going on, my brothers and sisters? My name is Casey Yance. I'm a bankruptcy attorney with usbankruptcyhelp.com. Today, we're going to talk about the Chapter 7 process. I know the Chapter 7 process, it sounds super scary. People have told you it's horrible. But, if you just take everything seriously, it should go pretty smoothly. Before we do that, please like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to give you lots of good content. And go to usbankruptcyhelp.com. We have so much information there. This is just a great resource for free. We have so many tools that you can use. Let's get into it. Chapter 7 is overwhelmingly the most filed chapter of bankruptcy. And why is that? It's because you get a discharge of your unsecured debt quickly. On average, the process takes about 4 to 5 months to get done. So you can get a fresh start pretty quick and move on with life. So the first step of the Chapter 7 process is to prepare the case, to prepare the Chapter 7 petition, the schedules and statements, and all the forms that are involved with that. We have to list all of your assets. We have to list all of your debts. We need to make sure we have the correct addresses for your creditors. We have to list what your income is. We have to list what your expenses are. And we have to go back and we have to list what your income was for the previous 2 years. These are just a few examples of what you will be responsible to submit. So in this process, you'll probably need to produce some documents as well. Usually, you'll need to produce some paycheck stubs if you're self-employed, like a profit and loss statement, because income is very important to disclose. Also, tax returns are important. You'll have to disclose tax returns. You also have to give tax returns to the Chapter 7 trustee that's assigned to your case. Usually 2 years of tax returns have to be turned over to that trustee. And we'll talk a little bit about that coming up because that's not really a step right now. But for your attorney or for you to prepare your case, tax returns are important. Also, you'll want to have bank statements ready. Usually, we look at 6 months of bank statements from the time you file a case. So once your case is prepared, your attorney or you have reviewed all your documents and you have all the correct information, now step 2, you file the case. Filing is usually done electronically. Usually you log into the court's ECF, electronic case filing system, and you file a case. But if you don't have access to that system, you can also go to your local bankruptcy court and you can file your case with the clerk there. Now, once the case is filed, some important things happen. One, you get a case number. Your case number just means you have an active case. Now, the case number, the notice of bankruptcy filing gets sent out to creditors through the mail. So if someone's being garnished, if you're being garnished, or if there's a potential for a repossession or foreclosure, usually you don't want to wait for the mail to send that to that creditor. You want to actively give that creditor notice of your case and your case number so that that action stops. So if someone's being garnished, what I like to do is I like to give the case number and notice of the bankruptcy filing to the payroll department of the person who's being garnished. And I also like to give that case number and the notice to the creditor who's doing the garnishing. Usually what happens simultaneously or maybe a little bit after you get your case number is you get your 341 meeting of creditors, date and time, and the assignment of the Chapter 7 trustee who's going to be responsible for your case. So that brings us to step 3, which is getting documents to your Chapter 7 trustee. As I just briefly mentioned, when you get the case number, you get assigned the Chapter 7 trustee. That Chapter 7 trustee is going to reach out to you. They usually have a questionnaire and they usually have a demand for documents. This is very common. This is normal. You're not being singled out. Everybody gets this. What they're going to ask for usually are some of the documents you already have prepared. So they usually ask for bank statements. They usually ask for 2 years of tax returns. And if you're working, paycheck stubs. If you're self-employed, profit and loss statements. If you're not working and there's no proof of income that needs to be turned over, usually you wouldn't need to turn anything over. It's usually a good idea to get the documents the trustee asks for over as fast as possible. That way they can review your case, they can review your documents with your schedules and statements that you filed, and then there won't be any delays in your case. That brings us to step 4, the trustee meeting or the 341 meeting of creditors. So the official title of the trustee meeting is the 341 meeting of creditors. Usually creditors do not attend this. This is a meeting where the trustee swears you in under oath, asks you basically if everything you scheduled in your schedules and statements in your bankruptcy petition is true, accurate, and complete. This is also a time where they verify your identity and your social security number. If the trustee has any other questions in your case, this is a time where they can ask you those questions. Now, before COVID, you actually would have to attend this meeting, usually at a US trustee's office or a bankruptcy court. Since COVID, these mostly have been either telephonically or online through Zoom. I'm not sure if that trend is going to continue where you can appear telephonically or through Zoom, but it appears that it will. I don't really see anything where the courts want to go back to having in-person meetings. And candidly, before COVID-19 and before meetings were through Zoom or telephonically, we were all kind of pushing that they would be because they're pretty standard, they're pretty routine. And if there's an issue that needs to be investigated more thoroughly, there's other ways to do that. The odds are, though, as long as you get all your documents over to your trustee, your 341 meeting is going to be pretty smooth. You're just going to answer some standard questions. You're going to verify your identity. And that leads us to the next step. So the next step is the entry of discharge. This is the reason why we file Chapter 7 is to get the discharge, which is an order from the court telling unsecured creditors that you are no longer responsible for paying them. For most cases, this is the final step, and you're pretty much just waiting on your case being closed by the court. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to put out a lot of great content. Please go to usbankruptcyhelp.com. We have an excellent website. We have so much content. We have lots of videos. We have a lot of tools. Go to US Bankruptcy Help and become informed.